Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Frieren. Last time around we had Winter in the Northern Lands, where we pretty much wrapped up everything at the city, whatever it was called, after the battle with Ara, and the gang headed out. They're going off to a city in the Northern Lands where Frieren can take a mage test because she's an uncertified back alley mage, basically. And along the way, they get caught up in winter. They find a little shelter where there's another elf named Kraft, I believe was his name. And, they pretty much just survive there, the four of them, for 6 months while they wait out the winter. And it was really interesting. Kraft was a very interesting character. They had good interactions, basically. I would say more, but that would require really going into it, and let's face it, we all watched the last episode. We all know what happened last episode. I just do these intro talks so we have a little bit before we get into the video. So they went on their separate ways at the end, and yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Frieren. Here we go. Oh man, I want a giant ass Hamburg steak. I don't want that. It's not my birthday though. No, my birthday's in July, so gonna be a while. And I'd see every birthday I always had pizza, so not like that's a special thing because every so often I have a pizza anyway. But I'm glad we had that. Honestly, I'm glad we had that. Which we're, well, I was gonna say we're at the halfway point of the season, but I guess we're not, because this is a 28 episode season, I think. So we technically got 2 more episodes before we're at the halfway point. But I'm glad to get more of Stark, him as a person, because we've had enough. We not enough, but we've had a lot of time devoted to Frieren, and obviously we've seen Fern basically grow up before us, so it's nice to see a bit more, of our boy who's pretty much kind of tagging along almost. But now we get to connect more with him, that's good. It's been, 7-8 months together, so it's good to have this connection. And learning more about him, his backstory. Man. Just coming off of Vinland Saga, seeing Stark's dad, and it's just he's weak, he's nothing, and stuff, and it's just I want Thorfinn to come in and philosophize all over the place, man. And it's an interesting thing that it's we'll never, I feel like we'll never know, could Stark have pulled the sword, And I mean, so it's an interesting thing, I guess, because this is less about warriors, which I like that there's a distinction between a warrior and a hero, That's such an interesting thing to have that distinction, because Eisen is a warrior, Himmel was a hero, And I guess it's also the thing of, I imagine it's something like I don't know. Because I was going to say it's it's kind of like with Frieren, where it's she could be going and doing all of these incredible things, but, she kind of stays in obscurity, learns her craft, and, she uses it when she needs to. I would assume that's what they say about a warrior, but I don't know. What's the difference? What exactly is the difference between a warrior and a hero? I mean, it would be very minute, I would say. It would be very minute differences, but man, and I mean, kind of getting a bit of Himmel, too, in this episode, where it's, he couldn't pull the sword, but did that dissuade him? No. He's basically saying, if I'm not the true hero who can pull the sword, then I'm at least going to live up to the true hero and defeat the Demon King. And he did, you know? And, I mean, it reminds me of just a little bit of Askeladd in Vinland Saga, where it's like, he has this whole thing of, being a descendant of King Arthur, basically, the real King Arthur. And it kind of reminds me of that a little bit of, like, you can't be the hero, the king, You can't be the guy, but you can be as close as you can. Like, I don't know, I guess it's the difference of a chosen one and someone who becomes that, someone who lives up to that, It's the difference of, well, the gods chose you, so this is what will be, and it'll be destiny. It's like, no, he did this himself, He did this himself, he built himself up, and he was able to defeat the Demon King through his own merit and power, Along with his friends, It's not like he did it by himself, I mean, that's also kind of like, it's kind of how I view, like, Demon Slayer, where it's like, is it that Tanjiro is a chosen one? No, but he's going to live up to these expectations, live up to his own expectations and his own goals of defeating the great evil, basically, So I like that. I honestly, I really like that. I like the more human element of it, which, if anything, that's kind of what this show has been, showing us, is almost that human element, even with Frieren, seeing how it's like, she is a 1,000-year-old mage. She's also a bit of a dork, Like, there are so many times, most of the time she's very calm, very composed and everything, but she's just as much a human as anyone else, She thinks, hey, my 18-year-old guy friend needs something for his birthday. I'll give him a potion that dissolves clothing. He'll like that. He's horny all the time, I'm sure, Or, when, like, Fern is carrying her and she's like, so do you think you can walk on your own? She just kind of tightens up, like, no, I don't want to. You smell nice, Like, that's the thing. It's like, yes, Frieren is this majestic 1,000-year-old, graceful, elegant, beautiful mage. But she's also a dork. They're all dorks, They're all dorks in their own way. Dork. But that was interesting. And, even with Fern, I mean, Fern almost had the same thing, where when she's like, he's not going to want that potion. That's terrible. He's not a pervert. And then going and, hearing all of these great things that he did around the town, He, pushed this cart up a hill. He stopped the cows from rampaging. He fixed up some stuff. Like, he did all these amazing things, all these wonderful things around town. And then she goes to him, and he's like, oh, man, that cloud looks like a woman with huge boobs. And it's just like, he's still a dork. He's still a big dork. And I love it. I love, though, he's like, it's like, and that cloud looks like a big pile of poop. Oh, I'm going to have to tell Fern about this later. It's like, what a goof, what a goober. Oh, but I love him. He's so great. He's a good boy, but he's also a dork, Fern is probably the least dork, but even she's kind of a dork, I mean, just the fact that she always, like, he's offering, just, let me carry Frieren, I'm strong, my entire thing is being strong. I'll carry her, you can relax, you can take it easy. And she's just like, oh, you pervert. And he's like, wait, I'm just trying to carry her. Can a man not just carry someone who needs help? Like, was it perverted for you to carry him when he passed out in the snow? Or like last episode, she walks in, sees some dude with his shirt off, and she's like, oh, there's a pervert in there. It's like, the pervert? You don't know. He's the only person in there, If he was doing man things, if he was doing man things, And as far as he knew, he was alone, you know? But he wasn't. He's just trying to get warm. So she's a little accusatory, which is interesting. Like, where did this come from? You know? Was it being raised by a priest? Where it's like... Which, I mean, we talk about him being a fake priest and stuff like that, but it's like... I mean, it's not like he was like that, you know? Or is it being raised by Frieren? Because she spent a lot of her life with Frieren, you know? So maybe she looks at her and is like... I don't know. Fern needs to chill on the pervert accusations, but anyway. But we got Stark's backstory, basically, that yeah, he was the runt of the litter in his town, this village that prioritizes warriors above anything else. And hey, he's strong. He is ridiculously ungodly strong, but compared to everyone else, you know, he was the weakling. But his brother Stoltz, he was kind. He was a good person, you know? He was a good person. And because at first I was so terrified when he got the mud on the white cloak, you know? Like for a second I was like, oh, please don't show that he's actually a jerk. It's like, nope. He didn't care. He didn't care. And at the end, he saved his brother, told him to run, you know? You weren't a coward. You weren't a coward. You're a survivor. So, the question, I suppose, is, could he have claimed the sword? You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he could have claimed the sword. He will live up to the sword without it, you know? The sword is just the goalpost, basically. But he doesn't need to keep it. You know? He doesn't need to keep it. He just needs to live up to the sword. And that's incredible. You know? That's incredible. So... He's also maybe a little bit of a perv. Frieren is too. I love that Frieren salvaged a little bit of the potion for him. You know? And, that's funny. And Stark is just like, well, what does it do? And just perv. It's like, what? It's like, he doesn't know. That's not fair. He's interested because he doesn't know what it is. You know? Maybe call him a perv after he figures out what it is. I don't know. Oh, Fern. Fern. She's all... I don't know. I mean, it's probably good. It's probably good that she is the way she is, you know. She needs to loosen up a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't have to be so loose, but just loosen up a little bit. But at the same time, it's like, okay, the potion, maybe not a great idea. I love, though, it's like, this seems like the first time that Frieren has opened her suitcase. I love that her suitcase is just a bag of garbage, you know? It's just all these weird knickknacks and crap she's bought over the years, you know? So, I like that. Now, she does the magical thing, you know, the thing where she brings out her staff. Like, I wonder if her bag, because Fern also doesn't have a bag, like, I wonder if her suitcase, like, is sort of this infinite thing, you know? That'd be cool. I always like that, you know? I mean, pretty much, you know, when you grow up on Zelda games, that just gets in your mind of, like, hey, a bag, an infinite bag, you know? And not just Zelda games. I mean, I'm sure if you played, like, D&D or any other sort of fantasy games or fantasy things, obviously that's it. But for me, it's Zelda, because that's what I got into as a kid. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting. I just love, it's like the Doctor's pockets. It's just infinite and full of crap, and I love it. So yeah, really interesting stuff, and I'm curious to see where we're going next time. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from Scimitar Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Frieren reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.